Hello and welcome to Soul Priorities. My name is Tuaca, and I am pleased to invite to the show and our conversation a man who has devoted his entire life to understanding through his own experiences his own passion for martial arts, and has set off to share his passion with others and to assist them in becoming the world's best. Let's understand more about what that is, and please welcome with me Sifu Sergio. Hello, welcome to the show.
Pleasure.
I have to say, what people don't know is that right now it's early in the morning for you in Hong Kong, so I really appreciate you, your endurance and commitment to sharing your message of Wing Chun and martial arts. So thank you for staying up late for this.
Okay. Will do my best.
I have no doubt about that. I personally found you through your institute in Amsterdam, your school here.
Okay.
And heard some things from your teacher students about some of the impressions and the experiences they have with you, and was impressed with what I heard. And looking further at your work, I see that you have schools all over the world, and that you teach in many different languages, and I'm absolutely impressed by this. So my first question is, how do you do it?
Actually, yeah, how should I say? It went actually quite automatically. So I just followed my passion, and one thing led to another. So the different languages is more that I wanted to know everything there was to know about the art. And back then I lived in the Netherlands, and there was not much literature in Dutch. So actually was English, and the second thing that came up always was articles in German, because there was a big Wing Chun organization in Germany, and yeah, they gave out a lot of books. So I had to learn German in order to read the books. And then Italian is my father language, so it was my luck. So spoke Italian from when I was little. So that was basically my Dutch, German, English, and Italian part. So just got lucky that I could teach in these countries in the people's native language.
Yeah, that's I would say that's incredibly rare to be able to do that, because it's not just translating Dutch to English or German, but it's also translating, technique and application and different terms. So martial arts in itself is its own language.
Yes.
So that's quite a skill. Again, like I said, I'm impressed. I'm so excited that you're here. So I was looking at your bio, and not so much into repetition, but for those of you who are new to you in your work, what was it for you as you're kind of looking at it from this moment in your life that took place in your own psyche, in your own body, propelling you to where you are now? What was that moment of consciousness for you?
It all started with my love for Bruce Lee when I was a child. So I watched all his movies many times, and then went a step further. So I went always to it's called the street in Amsterdam, is the Kalverstraat. And there was this shop, American bookshop. I don't know if it's still there, but they had these magazines, Inside Kung Fu and Black Belt magazine. And I would always, as a child, go there, and in the store, because I didn't have the money to buy the magazines, so we just go sit on the stairs in the store and read every month the articles, everything there was to know about Bruce Lee. And there was no internet back then, so. And then slowly, when I got a job by giving out newspapers, I got some money, and then started to buy everything there was to buy about Bruce Lee. So I went to different bookstores in Amsterdam and then ordered whatever there was to read about him, and then became more into it, more into it, more into it. So basically, he was the big inspiration, and I did not have an idea of opening many schools or something. It was just that I thought I want to become like him and master a kung fu system till the end, and then maybe make my own system. That was my idea, you know. And slowly, I rolled into teaching, and then from one thing came another, you know. And then, yeah, people liked it, and then I started to give seminars, and at a point in time, it just exploded, and I was too young to handle it back then. So fairly quick, I got a lot of schools, and because of I was not well versed in business, everything exploded again, and a lot of people opened their own organizations in their own schools. So then I thought, okay, I'm not so good a businessman, so better I get my act together also in that. And then I went to USA and I studied marketing with experts in martial art marketing, that I could set up a good organization, not only in skill and in teaching authentic kung fu, but also that it would stay and flourish and not fall together again. And that's worked out quite well for the last years. Yeah. So I'm quite happy.
Yeah, an interesting learning curve to be sure. Yeah. I think every artist has to find a relationship with those things. You know, other ways to be responsible for their passion, so other people can benefit from it. You know,
yes, exactly.
Without the school, where do people go to learn to develop their own skills?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's it. You know, many people nowadays, they accuse me. They say, "Oh, he's like a McDonald's, you know, like a McDojo. How can you have quality kung fu with so many students?" But I totally disagree. You know, if you want to protect the art and you want to protect a piece of Chinese culture, the only way is to do it on a big scale.
Yeah.
And when you do it on a big scale, you will have the finance to pay full-time teachers, because how else can you spread it, you know? If you just go there alone and teach 10 people in your garage, you're going nowhere.
Yeah, it's a smaller pool, that's for sure. And in terms of spreading it on a big scale, that touches upon lineage, and you're a multi-family lineage holder of different systems.
Yes.
And so that's also what you transmit to your teachers. So what is that's being communicated from all these different lineages, your understanding of them, and how you well, as I said, transmit that to your senior teachers to pass on.
Yeah, the thing is, I always wanted to learn Wing Chun from, let's say, A to Z. So I wanted just to complete the system, but
yeah.
That I jumped into the Yip Man lineage, which was quite famous in Europe because of Bruce Lee. That's the lineage he did, and I was not really aware when I was young that there were more lineages. But as I became slowly aware that there was more, and later on went many times to Hong Kong and China, then I said, okay, so there is more to Wing Chun than just Yip Man. And then, out of interest and out of need, actually, for my conscience, yeah, okay, I want to know everything there is to know. I started this journey in this system, so I need to know everything. So I started to study different lineages, and then if I do something, I do it good. So yeah, again, from beginning to end. And then you find out that it was once one, but it got spread into many different families. So nobody has all the answers, you know. Some lineages have things they are very good at, that they excel at, and yeah, that's what I teach then in my association. For example, if I teach a form with a weapon like a long pole, I will say, okay, this comes from Tang family. This is the authentic Luk Din Pun Kwan. and 6.5 point pole techniques from the Tang family. I especially place importance on where the stuff comes from. So yeah, you could say it's like an association, and within the association you have all these important things from all the lineages. But it's still one system, it's still Wing Chun, so that's why it's possible. I'm not mixing up karate with taekwondo, with kung fu, it's all Wing Chun. It all came from the same source. So that's what makes it easy.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point to also support you in following through your own movements with your passion, particularly when you have criticism about kind of exploiting by growing. That when you also communicate, hey, this is one family, or it's coming from the same source, and the intention, as far as I know it from your foundation, is mastering mind, body, energy.
Yes.
And if you're just using from your examples, if you're just pursuing the excellence of martial art, application, form, technique, movement, timing, all of these things, and not balancing family or business or other interest, if you actually have other interests beyond martial arts, but other interests, that's also a part of living the transmission, living what's being passed down. That balance is a fundamental part of that in relation to source. If that's sensible.
Yeah, no, it is. It's all interconnected, and what I try to do through my association is very important. If you look at the origin of our martial art of Wing Chun, where it comes from Southern Shaolin Temple. And Southern Shaolin Temple, they're basically teaching three things, it's the philosophy, the martial art, and the health aspect. So this we call the three treasures of Southern Shaolin. So if one thing is missing, let's say, or two things are missing, let's say we take away the health aspect or the philosophy, then you're just left with fighting. I mean, that's not really what I want to pass down, I mean, it's interesting for the first 2-3 years if you do martial arts. How do I defend a kick? How do I defend the punch? But later you really need the health aspect and the philosophy to really understand it. Martial arts is about mastering yourself and take yourself to another level. It's not really about fighting at all in the end, That's unfortunately what many people don't really get.
Got a frozen camera here for a moment.
Yeah. I got the same, yeah.
I would imagine that, I have my own experience with martial arts, both external and internal arts. And I spent many hours sitting in bookstores looking at Inside Kung Fu and those exact same magazines that you looked at. So I really...
it's interesting.
I appreciate what you're saying, and everything having to do with Bruce Lee. I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about that.
So we have something in common.
We have a few things in common, for sure. That's what was an interesting experience for me as a child in pursuit of martial arts. I really wanted to, I was teaching myself everything that I could. I would stand outside. I would do reading books, teaching everything that I could until I had the money to actually enroll in a school. Mm-hmm. But what was interesting for me is I would stretch, the other people would stretch, but I would sit class available. But the other people that were there looked at me like that was strange, that I was meditating, and nobody else did it. But I said, remember the first day, instruction day, the instructor came up, said, this is also spirit. And I said, well, this is another element that was talked about, but it's not being lived.
Yeah.
So what you're saying about maybe the fighting, the martial application, it may be interesting for 2-3 years, depending on the person's motivation. I know what it was for me, and I imagine that a number of your students, and why there's so much growth, is that people are coming to study martial arts, not necessarily for martial application. Of course, there may be some. I want to know how to defend myself. I want exercise. I want to work out. I want the social aspect of being in a martial arts studio, regardless of the system. But how this informs the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
So how would you say that martial arts permeates through the rest of your life in terms of joy or conflict resolution, or how you show up in relationships, and how would you say that's also true for your student teachers and your students?
Okay, now we have different levels of classes, yeah, in the school. So in our academies we have a basic class, we have a leadership class, we have a master class, and the more higher you go, the deeper the Kung Fu gets. On a very basic level, what the first principles the student learns is the basic 4 principles. First is, if the way is free, go forward. So they have not only in their martial art, but they also have in their daily life this mentality of going for something, setting a goal. It all starts with setting a goal. If you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere else, right? So yeah, you need clear goals, and then through the exercise, maybe they punch a focus mitt, and I want them to have that mind forward, and that in the daily life also they have that mindset. I go for my goal and I go forward. I don't give up. That's very basic. Then the second fighting principle is, if you meet resistance, you keep sticking. So if you want to reach that goal, life for sure will give you certain challenges. Yeah, nothing is for nothing, right? So instead of seeing these challenges, as many people do, as problems, you have to see them as a stepping stone. So it's great, and you should wish for more challenges, because it's only makes your mind, your spirit stronger. So in the end, you arrive as a stronger person, a more successful person. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly also correlates to our grading system. We have 12 student levels, and every level up is a certain challenge. So when you reach that black belt or that black sash, however you want to call it, if you reach that point, it means you succeeded in something, you trained your mind. It was not easy to go there, but it means in life also, whatever goal you set, you can reach. So it's like a metaphor. Yeah. And the third fighting principle is, if the force is too strong, you have to give. So you cannot go like a crazy wild bull. Sometimes you have to find another way, or life puts you on another track, and in the end it works out even better, because it was meant to be like that, right? And the fourth thing is, that when the opponent goes, that you follow. So maybe you reach your goal and never give up. You set your eyes on a new goal, or in the same venture that you pursued, but just to another level. You take it again to another level, so you follow again. So it's like different. This is like a different basic explanation of how the fighting principles can be used in daily life. But we can go much and much and much deeper, actually. One of the things of the leadership class, for example, would be to understand what you're about. We have a form. It's called in the IWKA Wing Chun system. It's called Samchin. It means 3 battles. And the first battle is the battle with yourself. So what do you consist of? Yeah, mind, body, and energy. And it's all being powered by the spirit. So that's why we have our logo, right? Mastering body, mind, and energy through the spirit. So what is the spirit for us, Kung Fu people? Is let me ask you a question. Do you have a pet at home? Yeah. Do you have a cat or a dog?
Do I personally? No.
No? Okay. You have a couch, right?
No.
A couch.
I don't have a couch.
Okay. What is very important for you in your home? In your home, what is very important for you? The camera freezes up sometimes, so the connection is light.
Yeah, the camera freezes up, but yes, like natural light and breathing space. That's why there's no couch. there's
okay.
Just space.
So, but there must be an object in your house, right? That you're attached to.
I have some sacred objects on my altar. That
okay.
I would say those ones.
So, even if you don't see...
So we'll just say my altar.
Yeah, if you don't see this altar, yeah, maybe you're in a park now or somewhere, so the altar is not with you. But if I tell you, okay, I want you to look at the altar, you can see it, and you can see it clearly, and you can even describe it, right? So, who is looking at the altar? That's the real you. That's what we call the spirit.
Me all the time. I don't separate from anything.
And basically, through that, through the spirit, we build then our mind, our body, and our energy with Kung Fu. But many people think they are the body, and they are not. And many people think they are the mind. They are controlled by the mind. So they go on an impulsive shopping spree and then regret it when they're home. They say, oh, why did I buy this or why did I buy that? Because they follow the voice in their mind, not knowing that it's the spirit that controls the mind. Actually, they're in control, you know, but they don't have a clue because maybe they're missing a guide or they're missing a tool in order to be aware again that they have the mind, the body, and the energy and get it under control. So Kung Fu is the perfect tool for that. So that's more the leadership class level. We go deeper into that.
So are you suggesting that the mind is governing the body, or that the energy is governing the body?
Energy, everything is energy. Everything around you is energy, right? But
yes.
For Kung Fu, it's 2 things. We have the energy we can use to heal ourselves with Qigong, with special exercises, and we can also use energy to transfer to an opponent when we need to defend ourselves. So, in a sense, also energy is very broad and how we can play with the energy and what we can do with the energy. But you first must be aware that there exists energy, you know. You know, many people are so stuck in the materialistic world that they lose sight of what is all possible, you know. They don't realize that they are creating certain situations in their own life through their own power, but you know, and some they really go very, very successful, and some go very, very bad, but not knowing that actually they are responsible for it by their thoughts, because thoughts is another form of energy. You need to control your thoughts. You need to control what you're saying. You need to control many things. Kung Fu is the right tool for that. It gives you something it gives you something to hold on to.
It's definitely a tool, and energy is everything, including information.
Exactly.
Insofar as kind of what you've achieved at this point. It's always the beginning. Every moment is the beginning. How have your goals shifted from your first time opening up a school to where they are now? You're in Hong Kong. You're absorbed and probably training intensely.
Yes.
How have your goals? What's happening now in terms of what you're seeing as you're moving forward, as your own art is propelling you forward, and the teachers that you have?
Oh, now I just want to set my association very firmly that even when I retire, let's say, with all the seminars and all the teaching, because I cannot keep it up what I'm doing now, like going all over the world and giving seminars everywhere. I'm not yet that old, but I'm already thinking of like relaxing a little bit more, in the sense of staying at one place more than a few months, and not always going from country to country. So yeah, my priorities now is making a lot of good masters under me that can spread the word, and then I want to travel maybe 2-3 times a year to Europe, or it can be South America, or it can be US or whatever, to give seminars, and the rest concentrate on one school where I'm teaching and enjoy my life. Maybe start a family or whatever. But I cannot keep it up like I'm doing now, because it's just burning you up. Was very hard the last 10 years. I've been really sometime on crazy trips, like 2-3 months living with a suitcase from hotel to hotel. Was not really that easy sometimes.
It's a whole other training on the system, huh?
Yeah.
Insofar as the master teachers that are under you, how much contact do you have with them, and the relationship you have with them, to kind of maintain the integrity of what the vision and the practice and the atmosphere of each school is? And granted, you're in vastly different cultures where your schools are.
Yes.
But so how do you maintain those relationships?
It's a very good question, especially the part of the different cultures. And in the beginning, like many years ago, when I started teaching in different countries, even though I could speak different line of languages, I was not really on the level of understanding culture deeply. So I taught basically in the same way in different countries, and it did not always work out that well, because different cultures have different habits and different way of thinking and different way of dealing with their emotions, and also expressing their emotions. If you go to Litauen in Russia, you can give a fantastic seminar, but don't expect any wild feedback. The people, they keep it all inside. They enjoy it as much as in Italy, but they keep it inside. So if you're not aware of that, you maybe think, oh shit, they did not like my seminar, or they're not happy, or whatever. And in Italy, if you go to the south of Italy, maybe you do something small and you get already an applause, and everybody wants with you to go on a photo with you, wants your autograph, and it's a whole different kind of experience. So it needed time to really understand all the different cultures and how to act, and also for sure where I live now in Hong Kong, to understand really the Chinese culture and how the people think, how they deal with their emotions is quite different.
Mm-hmm.
And how I stay in contact, your question about with my instructors here, we have to thank modern technology. I said I'm a complete nobody with computers, but I know how to use Facebook and I know how to use Skype, so I can communicate with my instructors through that medium. And I'm grateful for that, and I keep contact the best I can. And yeah, I personally really have Facebook really for the association, because if I would think of it of any other way, I would probably, if I did not have the association, would not never be on Facebook, because in that sense it would be a waste of time. You know, some people, they spend hours and hours on Facebook playing games, and I don't know what they're doing. But for me, it's a medium to communicate the stuff that's going on within my association. So it's important for my Kung Fu family. That's why I'm on Facebook. Otherwise, I would not be on it, actually.
Well, with communication, what's the principal message about Wing Chun that you've realized at this point in your life through all the systems that you've studied and that you continue to devote yourself to? The principal message that you want to share with people who have either been training or are interested about the art, when there's so many systems, internal, external, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Brazilian, so on and so forth.
Yeah, you know, there are so many systems and there are so many teachers. The first thing is find the right teacher, because a teacher is nothing more than a guide. So find the right guide, because if you find the wrong guide, you might end up in a bad place, right? So the first thing is to find a good teacher, a good guide, and then if you found a good guide, in the beginning, like I said before, can be important, you know, the self-defense part and the fighting part, especially for people. The first thing they do martial arts for often is because they feel insecure. They got bullied as a kid or whatever, and they start martial arts to feel stronger. They want to be like Bruce Lee. They want to be like a superhero, right? But later on, and especially if you become a teacher, you have to think of the thing like, okay, with great power comes great responsibility. So what you are doing is empowering people, helping them improve their minds, improve their bodies, improve their energy, and make them more successful outside of the Kung Fu school in their daily lives. And when they come back in your school, you know, day after day, and you see them grow, and you even get people that say to you, oh, really, I got this new job, and without Kung Fu, I would never have the power to get there at that level, and that's what brings big satisfaction. Mm-hmm. And then next to that, we are preserving a piece of Chinese culture. So, yeah, it's a wonderful art. So we have to protect that too. So these are the two most important things, I think.
Mm-hmm. Self-confidence, action, mindful action.
Yes,
and
for sure.
Lineage, very beautiful. Insofar as the name of the show is Soul Priorities, so, and in my life, in my purpose, I acknowledge soul, spirit, mind, body, personality, and acknowledge that everything is energy, and acknowledge a multidimensional universe. So with that, how do you feel it at this moment? Just the first wisdom that comes through you when I ask this, how do you feel that your soul is you know, realizing its potential this lifetime as Sifu Sergio, as a man, as a teacher, and how do you feel you're growing that way in your purpose?
Kung Fu wise, there is so much more to learn and to grow, you know. So I'm astonished myself, you know. If you would ask me this question 3-4 years ago, already you would get different answers. So it just brings me every time to new levels, and because it's self-mastery also and self-discovery. So I'm lately very busy with Qigong and special like meditation and breathing exercises, and then it gives you a whole other level of awareness, like the sixth sense that people, for example, have automatically. You know, they didn't see somebody for few years, and then they think of this guy or this woman all of a sudden, and then 3 days later they see the person. Oh wow, what was coincidence? I was just thinking of you a few days back. No, it's not a coincidence. You're creating that yourself. And it's actually possible through the practice of Kung Fu to strengthen that. It's like a muscle, and to be able to, at the end, create your own reality. But it goes fairly deep, and it's hard for people to understand, the people that are stuck just by means of Kung Fu, of defending a punch and defending a kick. Yeah, if you choose to stay on that level, you know, it's fine, but it's not what I stand for or what the IWKA stands for. So for me, it's a wonderful journey, and I'm still at the beginning. You know, I can grow indefinitely. I think just time will run out in this lifetime, and then we have to go to the next one.
All right. Well, Sifu Sergio, thank you so much for meeting with us today. And I look forward to meeting you in person the next time you do come back to the Netherlands.
Okay, no problem. You're training at the school in Amsterdam?
That's on the to-do list.
Okay, so I see you as a student there in the school.
All right, we'll see what color T-shirt. We'll see what color T-shirt I have by then. Huh?
Anyway, it was nice to do. Thank you. And you sent me the link, right, for the interview that I can share on the Facebook for the other viewers who might not have had the chance to listen to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll send that to you. So blessings to you and your Kung Fu family. And
same to you. More success in what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.